So, okay, Gary, that topic reminds me of something you brought up before when we were talking. You reminded me of this great quote by another wonderful thought leader that people should check out, Clay Shirky. That quote about it's not that we have too much information, we have filter failure.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
So Clay's an old friend, and a very influential thinker. He wrote a book called Here Comes Everybody, which presaged so much of the growth of social media. And he talked a lot decades ago about some of the potential ills that could come from us being so obsessed with living our lives on these social platforms. And Clay and I share a hairline, so I know he's a great thinker, and he's now the vice provost of NYU. But one of his greatest insights is that there was going to be, you could plot the exponential curve of the growth of information in our lives going back 25 years. I started a magazine, co-founded a magazine called Interactive Week, and we essentially were the internet's first newspaper, and we chronicled the ways that information was suddenly becoming unfettered. And people back in the mid 90s thought, oh, we have so much information. But what we said was, no, it's going to continually double and triple year after year. And what you'll get is an avalanche of information. And what Clay's insight is, wait a minute, we're creating all this technology that unfetters, that reduces the friction to information. That's actually why Google was founded. Google was founded on trying to make access to the world's information. What we missed is that we needed to have technology that helped us to be able to manage that onslaught. And that's where we've failed. The technology itself does not filter well. As a matter of fact, the algorithms are biased towards giving us more and more negative information, because that's what we as humans tend to click on. Again, the way that our minds are working, our minds were constructed, their bodies were constructed back when we all lived on the savannah or in a forest. And our attention is geared towards seeing something moving off in the distance. And we're trying to determine, is that my lunch or am I its lunch? That's the level of attention that we have. And then you suddenly take all these signals that are coming from all of these different sources. We're doom scrolling on our digital distraction devices day after day. And what ends up happening is our brains go on overload. And it turns out you're very suggestible when you're on overload. And so that's how a lot of these mechanisms work in the social media sphere. That's why people can keep on trying to sell us things, is because we have filter failure.
This is an important point because I think most of us think, well, yeah, that's happening to everybody else, but not me.
Yeah, we're all hackable.
Right.
Here's a thought experiment.
Okay.
And I'm not going to bias towards whether you've got more of a fixed mindset or a growth mindset, more of a conservative bent or more of a liberal or progressive bent. Here's the way that we're consuming this information in our lives. Look at them. Look at what they're doing. They're at it again. We need to stop them, because if we don't stop them now, then we're all at risk. The things you love, that you care about, are all at risk. Now, you can apply that at any end of the spectrum. And so basically all of these media platforms are the same thing. It's simply that they're talking to different audiences, but they're using exactly the same strategies and mechanisms.
That is almost so simple that you can't believe you missed it once you hear it. That's exactly what's going on, isn't it?
Yeah, we're very hackable.
Yes. I like to remind folks that the internet is an attention economy. That it went from 130 websites in 1993 to 40 million in 2003. So something had to become the way the internet was organized, and it became, I don't even know if by accident, but it became our attention. And now all the games are just meant to play with our capturing and holding our attention.
Yeah, absolutely.